Good morning, everybody. Happy midweek Wednesday. I'm not sure where you are, but our weather, we're supposed to get snow today. I'm not ready for it. So, wherever you are in the world, we thank you for coming and joining us. We have a great speaker this morning, Taylor Jamison, and I am so pumped to talk to her about razor cutting. And wanted to say, if you are new to salontraining.com and you're seeing this interview on YouTube or a podcast or wherever you're finding it, we want to welcome you to our group, which is, excuse me, salontraining.com, the Beauty Pros Toolbox. And why we say the Beauty Pros Toolbox is Joe Santin. Joe, we wanted to give you a shout out. You said about Toolbox, it was such a great name because there are so many things we can fit in our toolbox. We could put a razor in there, we can put shears in there, combs, but also education that goes in our toolbox as well. So salontraining.com has, if you are looking for educators to come into your salon and teach you, you can look at their profiles. So if you're looking for someone to teach razor cutting, whether it's virtual or in person, you will find Taylor's name. So you can type it in, you can read her bio, you can read what she can teach you, that kind of different things. And also if she has any live classes coming up, which we'll talk about soon, and all kinds of stuff. I'm going to be pumped getting in and talking to her, especially because I just got to see her brilliance at the beauty show in Ohio, the premiere. I got to see her in action, and she is the razor queen, and that's what we call her because she really truly is. So, all right, if you're a salon owner that is looking to hire right now on salontraining.com, we have free job listings that is going to go to mid-November, and then after that it'll be paid, but it's very, very affordable. We know so many people are looking to hire. All right, so let's get jumped into Taylor today. So Taylor, tell me a little bit about yourself.
All right. Good morning, Tracy. Thanks for having me. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, getting cold. Yes, my name is Taylor Jamison, and I like to say that I've been a hairdresser over 25 years. It's a long, long time, over 25 years. But I don't want people counting on my fingers and their toes, how long I've been in the business. I started in Scotland. I have worked in 5 countries to date, and I've had a salon here. I'm in Cincinnati for 30 years. I now own the building and work there very, very rarely.
So you're really what?
I work there very rarely, not very often. I have VIP guests. I like to call them my VIP guests that I have been seeing for over 25 years in Cincinnati. So, once they've had a razor haircut, they don't go back. So, I am known as the Razor Queen. And what my system is called is Classic Bohemian. And where that comes from, I'm actually classically trained in Scotland. And basically, we all followed more the Sassoon, coming out of the 80s where we used to do all the perming and stuff. Then in the 90s, Sassoon hit big time for us, young juniors in Scotland and England, all over the UK. We get into, the wedge and the graduated bob and the firefly, which were all beautiful shapes. So the classic bohemian comes from the Sassoon shapes where the classic comes in. And bohemian, because I actually took these shapes, doing them perfectly with the scissors, and then lightened the whole shape up with the razor. That's where the bohemian comes in. Beautiful classic shapes, but updated to, to move a wee bit more free, not as heavy. Just progression of a classic shape, if you will. Like progression of classical music. You will always have the classic music, but it can actually progress into a more modern kind of sound, if you will. So that's what I teach, the classic bohemian rock the razor system.
What made you want to start teaching? If you're working behind the chair and you're doing well in your salon, what made you kind of get into branching out to helping others learn better razor techniques?
Yeah, that's a good question. I have worked behind the chair for a long, long time. I started Saturday, I was a Saturday girl when I was 12, honestly. It's like trudging through the snow, bare feet, right? I honestly started in Scotland as a Saturday girl. So by the time I was 21, Tracy, I had my own business and I was named Young Scottish Entrepreneur of the Year. So yeah, I mean, it's been a long, long, long journey. This is not just an overnight success. People are just starting to know about me and I'm like, how long I've been doing this? But you come to a point, and this is what comes with experience, and I love it. You come to a point when you want to share your knowledge. When you're passionate about something, you want to share it. You don't want to keep it to yourself. And I think it was just a natural progression. When I came to this country, it just seemed to happen naturally that I started to fall into teaching. Hairdressers were coming to me to get their hair cut with the razor, paying me in the salon as a guest. And then I'm like, well, why can't I can teach you this, you can do this. So it was a natural progression, if you will. So yeah, I don't think I had to think about it that much.
Okay. In your experience, why do you think people, and I don't like to use the word afraid of the razor, but choose to not use the razor as often as people that really know the razor really well? Like, have you talked to any of the people through the years that says, oh, I'm a little bit timid, of the razor, or not sure what to do or how to hold it? What are some things they say?
Absolutely. I've heard it all, Tracy. And if I believed everything I heard, I would not use the razor myself. Do you know what I mean? I pick up, if I didn't use the razor and believed everything I heard, I probably wouldn't be sitting here right now. First of all, let me show you what we're talking about here. I have it right here. This is my razor. This is my razor that I use. Now, I have not just this razor. This is my go-to. This is a straight blade, no guard on it, okay? But I also have the Wilson spin blade, and I also have the hot tool that's attached to a cord. And I have a toolbox. We talked about the toolbox. I have a toolbox of razors and scissors. By the way, if you can't use the scissors, you can't use the razor. And if you can use the scissors, you can absolutely use the razor. The operative word is cutting. So I've heard, I've even heard from clients, oh, you can't cut my hair with the razor. It gets over texturized and, people just made a mess of my hair with the razor. I understand that. I really do. The operative word when I'm teaching guests or hairdressers, the operative word is cut. It's a completely different thing to texturize with the razor and cut with the razor. Hence, what I teach in the classes, there's 5 points of difference with cutting with the razor and texturizing with the razor. And texturizing has its place. But I have seen hair that's been over texturized. It's not been cut with the razor. I have seen people that just don't know how to use it. It's like anything else, we had to learn to cut with the scissors. You have to learn, you have to pick it up, you have to practice. And it's like riding a bike. Do you know what I mean? You need to get on the bike to learn how to ride it. Then once you learn how to ride it, you really don't think that much about it. So there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of questions, there's a lot of things that I've heard about the razor that I can dispel. I really can. Otherwise, I wouldn't be sitting here. Yeah. And I'm very passionate about it. So go ahead.
I was going to say, that brings us to the topic of what this discussion is about today. One of your things you're going to talk about, 5 points of difference when cutting with the razor. So can you go over those? What are the 5 points?
All right. So I have them right in front of me, and basically I'm going to just go through it because it's right here. So the difference, what you learn in my classes and on the courses that I teach, the difference between cutting a straight line with the scissors and cutting with the razor. Now, that is one thing. What is the difference between that? You know, if you want to cut a straight line, here's my answer to that. And this is not kidding. Anything I'm saying here, I say in the classes. If you want to cut a straight line, if you want to cut a bob, please use the scissors. This is not about one versus the other. This is about adding to your repertoire of what you already know. It's adding to that toolbox. It's to separate you. So the difference between cutting a straight line with the razor and cutting a straight line with the scissors, you will always get a certain amount of softness with the razor. You can vernier get a straight line, but it will always be soft, and that is the object of the exercise. But if you want a perfectly straight line, please go ahead, use your scissors. I would do it. The next one is the difference between cutting it with a razor with the guard on it or not. With the guard, this is my one with the guard. If you can see this here, it's the Wilson spin blade right here. And I put at various sections, I can put my straight blade down, pick up my one with my guard. At any given moment, I could pick up my hot razor. I take it section by section, like a sculptor or a surgeon would do. There's no hard and fast rules about each section either. The difference with a guard, you get a bit more of a drag. If I want texture, a wee bit more texture, I will use the razor with the guard because I like that split second drag that you get to add a wee bit more texture. And it also helps to debulk a bit more because you are adding a wee bit more texture. So if you want more of a clean line, the straight blade is it. If you want to add a wee bit more texture, then the razor with the guard is amazing. So, and then the next one is how to cut any type of hair, curly, straight, wavy, long, thick, or thin. And basically the operative word in that is cut. You can cut any texture of hair with the razor. And that is one of the biggest ones that I get, especially from guests. You know, oh, my hair's curly. You can't cut curly hair with the razor. And then I have people with curly hair. Oh, you can only cut my hair with the razor. The operative word is cutting. My system is cutting, not texturizing, first and foremost. And that's not to say texturizing is wrong, but what you have to understand first is how to cut the hair with the razor, any texture of hair, and then you can go ahead and texturize it if you have to. And it cuts a whole lot of cutting with the scissors and then going in and texturizing. Believe me, it cuts a whole lot of work out. And then the fourth one is how to cut hair without over texturizing. Well, when you cut is completely different from texturizing. When you texturize hair, yes, you have to be careful. You know, you can't just go at it with any kind of tool, scissors or razor. Razor just happens to be, most people will use it for texturizing. And that is great, but I would say, know how to cut hair with it first, and you'll see exactly what you need to texturize after you cut hair with the razor. Does that make sense?
Yes. And I got to tell you, and I might have mentioned this to you or not, but I'm going to tell the audience, whenever Taylor was on stage at Premiere, I was listening to the audience. I was going around taking pictures, and I can tell you that there was a group of these stylists sitting there, and they're saying, oh my gosh, she's doing the whole haircut with that razor. Look how fast that is. And it was very incredible. Like, obviously, you know, you guys slow down sometimes for stage to go and talk and then stop and then come back. But the whole haircut would have taken you so much. It was much shorter than going in and cutting it with the shears and then going back in and having to do a lot of texture. That haircut was so texturized and so beautiful on her. And that's what I kept hearing the audience say, oh my gosh, watch her. You know, it was great. So if you get a chance to see Taylor at a show, go to her room. Yes.
Thank you for that, Tracy. I will say it is not about putting down the scissors. I mean, I have everything here, right here. We all cut. If you're a hairdresser, you cut with the scissors. When I cut with the scissors, I am definitely a hairdresser. When I cut, the operative word, when I cut with the razor, I honestly go into, and people have said this to me, I honestly go into another level of, I feel like a sculptor. And yes, and you know this, I think you know me by now, and I think there's a lot of people probably watching that know me by now. As a woman in the industry, you know, I honestly think it is a bit harder to separate yourself, just to elevate, to be on stage at that level is mostly, and I say this all the time, I love men, my husband's one, my son's a fireman, paramedic, I have the best men in my life. And now we say the man behind the women, not the women behind the man. So I have men behind me, believe me. But I know there's a level when you get to, you know, particularly on stage, that, you know, to capture your audience, you know, when it's mostly men on stage at that level I'm talking about, because it's mostly women in salons, but mostly men on stage, to capture that audience is really difficult. So when I pick up the razor, I know right away, I'm like, here we go. Here's my tool. Here's my tool of choice. And it is, people get mesmerized. And it is, like you said, you hear people going, oh my goodness, she's doing that whole thing. And it's no texturizing. You see the shape evolve. You see the beautiful shape, and it's sculpting. So like I say, it's not about putting down the scissors. It's not about cutting wet or dry. It's not about, you know, you should do this or you should do that. It's about adding to your repertoire. Why wouldn't you want to do that? Add to your repertoire of what you already know and just elevate. You know, sometimes you hit a wall in your career. I've hit walls in my career where I'm like, you know, I get kind of complacent. I'm like, is this it? When you pick up another tool, when you open your mind and stop putting all these walls up, but what if, but what if, but what if? That's what I go through in my class. It is not just about another haircut. Can't be about that, Tracy. It's about elevating, adding to your toolbox, making a whole new different pathway when you come to it, and just separating yourself from the next person, maybe, right?
Yes.
So that's exactly what goes on, even at the platform level. I know there are people watching me, but I also know that it's harder to get these people in. But when I pick up the razor, and it's the same in the salon, it's the same behind the chair. You know, every hairdresser in a hair salon will be using the scissors, even myself. But when I pick up the razor, Tracy, even the clients are like, you know what? I've never had this done before. And I don't think I'll, like I said at the beginning, I don't think I ever want to go back.
Mary Wilson and I were talking about that on our interview this week. People will watch you in the salon. So if you are working with 20 other stylists in your salon, or however many, you know, clients are sitting back and kind of checking out your work. And if you're in with someone that does the same thing all the time, I love what you said at the show. This was probably the biggest aha thing that I think people took away from what you had mentioned, is so many clients, guests will come in and say, you know what, I've been going, and I've heard it too, hundreds of times. I've been going to her for, 20 years, and I really love what she did, but she does the same thing all the time.
Yeah.
But clients never ask sometimes for different. We go in and we just we cut the same. We do the same. We might take it a little shorter, make it a little bit longer, but sometimes we have to give them a little bit of a spice, like we have to pump it up, give them a little, not necessarily a show, but people are watching you in your, while you're cutting, they're watching you. So have different tools, have different dialogue, talking to the guests, like, you know what, we've been doing the same thing all the time, you know what? So how did you say it? You said it so brilliantly. I don't know your exact message, but it was so true.
Well, let me go back to saying this is not just about another haircut. No matter what you teach, it is not just about another haircut. There is all these points that I touch, and that is part of the consultation. That's huge, huge, huge. I even go in my classes, when I'm teaching a razor class, I even go before the consultation. So there's all these steps to get to the point where I was talking about, you know, the client sitting in your chair. Even if I have done clients for 25 years, let's just say that, it's been more than that. And one of my clients that I always make an example of, she travels 2 hours to get to me and 2 hours back. And she's been coming for 25 years. And I've moved around a wee bit. But basically, I will not let any guest go past my chair, no matter, even if they're saying, Taylor, just do the same as you did the last time. No, please take a seat. I will do the same as I do the last time, but I'm going to tell you that I was thinking about you before you came in. And basically, we all do that. We know we do that. As designers, we do that. Even if you don't know you do it, you do it. You think about these clients before they come in. And even if they say, Taylor, do what you did the last time. Here's my ammo, if you will. I will say, okay, yeah, let's do it. But I was thinking about you before you came in. And I think maybe the next time I was thinking about you, we'll change it up. Maybe we'll try a curtain bang or a side sweep bang or whatever. And even if they say, Taylor, I'm never going to do it, at least they know. They'll say, you know what? Nobody has ever said that to me before, you know? So I never take it for granted that even if they're saying, you know, they love it, just do the same thing all the time. I never take it for granted, because it has happened so many times in my chair that somebody has said, with a great haircut, by the way. And Tracy, you saw the girl whose hair I cut. Her hair was phenomenal before I cut it. Phenomenal. But guess what? She still wanted to model for me. And that's what I get a lot. And I'm like, you know, don't let it happen to you. Don't let it happen. Every time, consultation is key. Even if they say it's the best haircut I've ever had in my life, which I hear a lot, and I'm not saying that egotistically. Even if they say this, I'm like, sit in my chair, because you don't get to go by, because this is my training. This is what I feel I'm doing somebody a disservice. And believe me, it comes from learning by mistake, because I've been through all that. And I've had people say to me, you know, I went somewhere else years ago, you know, when you think I don't know what I thought it was, but, you know, I went somewhere else. Who cut your hair last? Was it me? Well, to be honest, right? When you hear that, to be honest, you're like, oh, great, here we go. So it has, everything I teach is through experience, trial and error. Even with the razor, and then becoming open-minded and aware of what I have to do, you know, to separate myself from the next person.
So yes, that's great. And I think we had one more, because we went over 4, right? So
all right.
One more, the 5 points of difference of using when cutting with a razor.
The 5 here, it says the difference between a gabless razor and a razor with the guard.
Yes, that was 2. And then I think the 3 was any type of hair that you can cut on. Number like
curly, straight, wavy, long, short, thick, or thin.
Or not about over texturizing, and then number 5.
Texturizing. And then number 5, the difference between a guard and a razor with the guard. Honestly, I do not. I honestly can tell you that the only difference between the guard with the guard is you get more slippage with the straight. And if you want to be just not texturizing, then basically it's the straight blade. And honestly, I say, to me, this is from this to this is a graduation process. So I would tell you, if you've never picked up a razor before and you just want to get it into your hands, try it with the guard. I know people are scared, but I also tell you that we use sharp tools, and people are scared initially when they pick up the scissors for the first time. So my thing is, pick up the one with the guard, and then once you get proficient with this, and then you can try the straight blade. Now, I want to address I know we're getting short on time, but I want to address the things to look at when you're looking at a haircut, because that's really important to me, and it's really important because you know how you had an aha moment about what I said.
I totally agree with it. I was watching the crowd because I've always said that to my team. You cannot just always expect them to want the exact same thing, and you have to be the person.
Absolutely. It's honestly, I love what I teach, and every time I teach it, and every time I say it, I watch people's faces. Hairdressers that have been in the business for 5 months, hairdressers that have been in the business for 50 years, and I watch their faces. And you know, among them all, 99% is an aha thing, because we've all went through it, myself included, and I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. So that is honestly one of the things that I know, that when I teach it, I'm absolutely hoping to make a difference. Now, I know young kids coming out of school are sitting in my class with experienced stylists that have been in this class, that have been out for 50 years, say. When I say there's only 3 ways, only 3 things to watch when you're watching a hairstyle being executed, regardless of the style, right? Now, I don't normally tell anybody in my class what it's going to look like at the end. I don't. What I'm doing is teaching a system that you will get maybe so many various looks out of, that it's not about the style. So when I say this, there's only 3 things to watch when you're learning a haircut. Can I ask you, Tracy? I'll put you on the spot here. Okay. Can you give me an idea? Do you think you might suggest what the 3 things might be to me?
I would think first of all, head shape. That would be the first thing that I would go to, is what to watch whenever you're doing it. I personally love to watch how the educator stands, how they do their body position. That's very important to me to watch. And I also look for a lot of things, because I'm looking for, I like how they speak, how they present themselves, that kind of stuff. So I'm not sure if that's, where you're going with that, but.
All right. Everything you said is absolutely correct. Everything you said. And all of that is done in the consultation, maybe except the way somebody stands. All right. That gets explained during the haircut. As soon as the hairstylist or the teacher or whoever picks up the comb, picks up the scissors, picks up the razor, the 3 things you want to make sure you can see, and this is what's a wee bit harder in the big shows. This is why classes are great, smaller classes. But if you can watch, first and foremost, how is that sectioned? Go to that section. You have to see how it's sectioned. Is it vertical? Is it horizontal? Or is it diagonal? First thing, regardless of what style it's going to be, right now, I would say to you, as soon as the stylist picks up the comb and the scissors, the first thing you want to look at is how is it sectioned? Is it vertical, horizontal, or diagonal, right? Second thing, elevation. Elevation of the head shape, which you've decided the head shape by this time. Elevation off of that head shape. What is the elevation? What is the elevation it's being held? And then third, how is it being cut? 3 things, regardless of what you think this is going to look like. because I can do with the sectioning, with the elevation, and then eventually my tool of choice, how is it going to be cut? I can tell you that I have learned that haircut, regardless of what that haircut is. And that's what a system is. That's exactly what a system is. And you see how passionate I'm getting about that? Because I see these aha faces, even in,
You're always passionate about stuff. Every time I talk to you about anything hair or anything, you're like on fire. I love talking with you. Okay.
You know what? It's new to me every day, Tracy. It really is. And thank goodness for that, because I've never done another job. I've never done another job, Tracy. I've never had another job. And I'm going to go as far as to say, and I know this is deep and this is for the book that will come out eventually. It saved my, let's just say it saved my bacon. It saved my bacon in my life a lot of times. It has been a go-to when I step into the salon, and I've said this to people that have worked with me. I don't say people work for me. Never, never, never. I work with people. I call them partners. I've said this to people that come in the door of my building. Leave it outside, come in, and you do what is going to give you the best possible day, because you know we're day makers for ourselves and for each other and for that guest that's sitting in the chair. And that is when it gets deep, because we know the psychological thing that we do is very important, and it's important for me. So for me to get this passionate still, I'm not saying this egotistically, I amaze myself still to this day. I'm like, seriously? Are you still? I can't believe that. I come off and I'm like, oh man, Yeah. So it's
such a wonderful industry.
It's
such a wonderful industry.
We just said that at the exact same time there. Yep. We just did. It really, really is. It really is. And, it's about sharing knowledge. I like to say I jam. It's a jam session. Like when all the musicians get together, we can use whatever tools we like, but that passion, the passion has to be ignited.
Speaking about jamming, speaking about jamming, we can't get too much off topic because I know we're just out of time, but you and David are going to be at the show in Pennsylvania. And I know you guys are going to be, there's so many of you on the cruise. So if you guys are looking for a really cool cruise ship, Taylor's going to be teaching there. She's also going to be teaching at Seven Springs Mountain Resort on April 24th and 25th. So go to one of them, go to both of them if you can. Reach out to her on salontraining.com. All of her information is in her profile, so you can reach out. I know we had a comment on here. Someone had won one of your classes through the Wilson's 12 Days of Christmas. So they're going to be reaching out to you too. She can't wait to take that.
Oh, yeah, please.
Yes, it's going to be great. So if you need help with razor cutting for you or your team, reach out, like I said, one last time on her profile. But whenever you said about jamming out, okay, so I just got to throw this in here real quick. So David is such a cool singer, guitar, everything. You've got to hear that, I'm sure, right? So David, we're putting you on the spot if you see this. We want to hear it at the Seven Springs Hair Show. So maybe we can convince you to bring your guitar. And Taylor, during the VIP party, which is Monday from 7 to 9, trainers are all invited complimentary, and so are vendors. Everybody else that is coming in, there is a small fee for that. But maybe you can do your rock out, like you do all your dancing wherever you are. I watched that video and it's so fun. So you're just such a fun person to be around. So
another thing I'm totally passionate about, and basically you will see that come through. And again, just not get off topic either, but I have people that come to me and say, Taylor, now this is about dancing. Taylor, I can't do that. Can you believe it? I have people that say that. Taylor, I can't do that. And my answer to the razor and the dancing is, oh, yes, you can. Yes, you can. And I'm here to absolutely, I will bet my bottom dollar on it with this after you take the class and with the dancing. And yes, we will be rocking out. And honestly, Tracy, I'm kind of scared in case I rock this boat, too much. You know, I would say they don't rock the boat. We are going to rock the boat.
Nice. That is so
And I think Brad knows that.
yes. Oh gosh. So
Yes.
on the cruise ship.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So, and I'm so looking forward to Pennsylvania. I actually think I've done that show years ago, and I guarantee you it was one of the best ones that were around.
every
Absolutely.
single person, and no exaggeration, every single person that remembers that show says that like that was one of the best shows that they remember going to, and that's why we want to bring it back.
Yeah.
I'm just going to
Yeah.
share my screen real briefly before we end here. Is if you go to salontraining.com, this is where you can find out the information on the show or the cruise. Here at salontraining.com, we promote everybody because we want educated, or we want stylists and salon owners and estheticians to get education, meet Taylor, meet, David, meet all kinds of different people, Brad. So right here on Monday, the 24th and Tuesday, the 25th is, you can find out, whoops, I'm lost. Okay. Learn more. You can buy a ticket. You can find all this information here right now until October 31st. The tickets technically were not supposed to go on sale until November 1st. And we're like, you know what? Let's go ahead and put them on a couple weeks early before we get all the trainers listed on the site. And then we'll put them at a really good discount. So right now to October 31st, if you're listening to this, please share this with your friends, comment, tag them, whatever you need to do. Get your teams there, get your schools there, get your salons there. $67. I mean, seriously, like you can't beat that for 2 days of training. Student tickets are only $47 right now. Now, again, those will go up. And I will just show you right here. Whenever you want to look for particular trainers, you can go up to the trainer category. Like I said, search who you're looking for, what category you're looking for. Are you looking for someone to teach you business, razor cuts, makeup, safety, anything? I mean, there's tons of different categories. If you're looking for a job, you would come here. And then lastly, the shows. So the cruise right here behind the mask, Mentors and Masters, which is phenomenal too. That is coming up November 6th and 7th, only a couple weeks away. If you cannot attend Mentors and Masters, there is also a virtual option, Pennsylvania Beauty Show, which was what we were talking about. You can meet Taylor, and also Behind the Beauty Mask right here. So, all right, I'm going to stop my share. We're going to tell Taylor goodbye. And I want to thank you so much. I had so much fun in Ohio meeting you. Thank you inviting us up to your loft too. We had a really great time. It was fun. So I can't wait to see you in April.
Back at you, Tracy, and thank you everybody who joined us. And if you need to get a hold of me, please private message me on Facebook is great, Instagram, and I have a Taylor Jameson Education Academy page. I will get back to you. I definitely will. So please don't hesitate to reach out.
You know what, speaking of that, whenever this gets edited, we'll put all that information on the back.
All right.
But if you're watching this today or before we get the edited version, Taylor, can you put those in the comments today? So I know your group, you had started a while ago, but you didn't really put a lot of people in there because you were focusing on a lot of other things. So I know you talked about like, yeah, I'm going to build out my Facebook group then, and we can post this in here in a couple different places. So join her on her Facebook group, join her, like I said, Messenger, and reach out to her. She's you're such a great person to talk with. So
and by the way, I mean, on the Facebook page, there's the hairdressers from all over the world on it, and the Alternative Hair Show messaged me, told me so many times, you're our top follower or whatever it was. So I get to see even on that page myself, I'm like, oh wow, I see what's going on in Ireland, I see what's going on in Scotland, I'm commenting on all of it. I mean, it's international.
What page is that?
Taylor Jameson Education Academy page. So
something different than I was thinking the other day.
What one do you have? There's actually a couple.
You know what? Maybe I joined the one that you started like a while ago, and so regardless, go ahead and put the one that you want in the comments, and then as soon as we end here, maybe I'll call you real quick, and then I'll make sure that I'm in the right one too. That sounds cool.
All right. Great.
All right. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Thank you, everybody. Have a glamorous day and rock the razor.
Nice.
Why not?